a Marine named Matthew Schaefer was married, had young children. He had a religious objection to receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. He filed his application for approval of his religious objection to the vaccine mandate within the Department of Defense. Remember, when they first rolled out the vaccine mandate, they said we will accommodate religious objectors who have a sincerely held religious objection to getting it. His religious objection-based exception was never acted upon. It was effectively pocket vetoed. And they wrote it out so long that it became meaningless, and they fired him, forcing this young Marine, Mr. Schaefer, and his wife and his young children to move in to his parents' basement. As if they needed to add insult to injury, they're now seeking to recoup $21,000 from Mr. Schaefer based on the argument that he violated his agreement with the Marine Corps by not serving the amount of time to which he had agreed. So this is a reason why I am at once, number one, elated that the Department of Defense saw the light and also saw that this is not the right thing to do, perhaps because we had a number of members of the Senate saying we're not going to put up with this and we're not just going to pass a Defense Authorization Act unless we have an opportunity to address this. So I commend them for that. I'm grateful for that. I commend and I'm grateful to my colleagues who are willing to stand behind this, and including senators like Marsha Blackburn and Ted Cruz, who filed legislation on this, and those who stood with them and saying we're going to oppose cloture unless we're able to address this issue. That is great news. That is a success story. I do think that we still have to worry about those who have already been fired, about Mr. Schaefer and countless others like him, about the U.S. Navy individual who I heard about recently, whose daughter has a medical condition, and notwithstanding the Fifth Circuit's order in this recent litigation, has been told that his health insurance has expired and his daughter won't be able to get her needed medical treatment covered by his health insurance by the Department of Defense. This appears to be in violation of the order issued by the Fifth Circuit. But all this begs the question, why should we assume, we're being told by many, that the Department of Defense is going to deal with those individuals fairly on a case-by-case basis as things move forward. In some cases, we're being told that they need to do this because in some instances, some probably exceptionally rare circumstances, someone might have been dismissed ostensibly for purposes related to the failure to comply with the vaccine mandate, but really it was for something else. First of all, I think that those circumstances are probably exceptionally rare and could be dealt with through other means. But what leads us to believe that they will, in fact, deal with these on a case-by-case basis when people like Mr. Schaefer were told something similar with the vaccine mandate, and then they pocket vetoed his religious objection-based exception? This isn't right. And so I'm going to continue to honor the promise that I made in signing a letter with a couple dozen of my colleagues that I'm not going to vote for cloture on this thing unless we're given a meaningful opportunity to address this issue in this bill. I think we need to do that. We owe it to them. Our national security depends on it in many ways. The recruitment is down. Morale is down, in part because of stuff like this. And we need to deal with this issue now rather than on the basis of some prospective promise that they'll treat fairly those whom they have treated most unfairly with this policy. With regard to the spending bill, it's important to remember that since 1994, we've seen the House of Representatives shift, control of the House of Representatives shift from one party to another 4 times since 1994. In each of those instances, there was no omnibus passed by Congress following the election leading to that shift. It didn't happen because it shouldn't happen. That's not how things should work. When the voters have spoken and control of the House of Representatives shifts, there's an understandable desire on the part of the incoming members and especially on the part of those who elected them, that you're not going to have spending decisions made by the outgoing Congress that was just voted out of office. and out of control of the majority. If we were to pass an omnibus, that would, I believe, be a very effective way at carrying forward the effect of this Congress, at carrying forward and advancing the Pelosi-Schumer spending priorities. But it's not good management policy, and it's especially bad management policy right now, where we still don't have top-line numbers. There's no agreement on top-line numbers. There's no agreement on top-line numbers today. Look, we're less than 10 days out from when we're scheduled to go into recess before Christmas, and there's not a reasonable opportunity to write something, have it adequately aired by the American people, reviewed and understood by those asked to vote for it, and pass it all at the same time, which is part of the problem. Which is exactly why I think we need to pass right away a short-term spending measure, taking these decisions into the next Congress, so that the next Congress can address it with all deliberate speed once that happens. This is necessary not only because it's respectful to those voters who spoke loudly and clearly and elected a Republican House, but also because this practice of dropping a 3,000-page spending bill, and Rand Paul is not exaggerating here at all, at the last minute, and then using basically extortion to tell members of the House and Senate that they've got to vote something that they've never read, that their constituents have never had the opportunity to react to, and that they will have no opportunity to amend. This is wrong, and it's got to stop. This is a very good time in which to stop it. We can stop it and do so in a way that doesn't threaten anyone with the government shutting down by passing a short-term spending bill now, that will take us into next year. Look, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines should not be used as pawns. Fear for whether they will get their paychecks and fear on the part of individual members about whether they're going to be able to get home for Christmas shouldn't be on the table. That shouldn't be used as bait for extortion, for making people vote for something that they know is wrong, that they've never seen, and they will have no opportunity to amend.